What's the reason you have been banned from an establishment such as a shop, bar, restaurant, cafe, etc.? Hostile Carrot says, I tried to pay my cover entry fee to a bar one time with $2 bills, and instead of taking my money, the bouncer told me to leave in a not super polite manner. Libralisa26 says, my parents got banned from their favorite Mexican restaurant because they would 9/10 times complain that the tostada shells were not crispy enough. Halfway through the meal they would ask for new tostadas with refried shells. The restaurant manager came to the table one evening and asked them to never return. My parents stopped going for a couple of months, then went again. They said the staff gave some eye rolls but didn't kick them out. Marnanel says, telling a fellow diner who was emotionally abusing her child exactly what I thought of her behavior. Edit, since this is getting up votes, I've found the blog post I made later that afternoon. I just got thrown out of a restaurant for shouting at another diner. She'd been insulting her child loudly for about 10 minutes. The kid didn't do anything in response. She just kept eating. You can't eat properly. You're gross. I don't know what she thought the kid was doing. Maybe not using a fork properly? Twice the woman did that thing people do to mock disabled folk. Doer, do you know? And this was all loud enough that nobody could ignore it. All the other diners were turning round to glare at her. I was wondering how to intervene. There was too much anger in my mind. Then her partner said something quietly about how she was spoiling everyone's lunch. She snapped back, it's your fault for not restraining the kid. At this point I lost it. I jumped up, pointed at her, and shouted, You are the problem. And I told her that children should be encouraged and praised. That she was setting the kid up for a lifetime of feeling worthless. And, how dare she treat a child that way? I don't remember what else I said. I was full berserker angry by this point. Excuse me, said the staff. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Of course. I'm sorry, I said to the staff. I'm sorry, I said to the other diners, and then, but I'm not bloody sorry to you. I don't think the woman will change. I expect she'll punish the child when they get home. But the child will never forget this day. The child will know that someone opposes her mother. That someone can fight her corner. That was 1,000 times worth getting thrown out of the restaurant. Diamond Pup says, called my barber to make an appointment. Showed up at the time. He kept taking people walking in after me. After 45 minutes of this, I ask him when my cut is. He says after all his other appointments. I ask what about my appointment? He says, you didn't make one. I referred to our phone call and the time he gave me to come in. He says, and I quote, you have to use the word appointment. You can't just come in at the time I tell you. I call him a idiot. Banned. Previous encounter with said barber, I come in to get a haircut. Place is empty. He tells me to sit on the barber chair. I sit and wait. He's on his phone. I assume it's important. He's on his phone a while. I'm waiting 20 minutes. He finally goes, sorry, I had a high score going. He put his phone down and he was playing some darts game. Previous encounter with said barber, literally mid-cut, shows me his watch. It's a really tacky but expensive looking watch. Tell me how much this is. What? Tell me how much this is. $200. Offended. Way higher. Guess again. $500? Way higher. $2,000. It's $1,100. $1,100. But if I see someone else wearing it, I throw mine in the garbage. I don't wear what others are wearing. Baffled silence from me. Smug victory for him. Continues haircut. Previous encounter with said barber, getting haircut from him. His new staff person is giving another person a haircut beside me. He keeps stopping my haircut to tell her what she's doing wrong. Gets pissed, drops his trimmer in my lap, dusts off his hand, tells her to stand back and watch, and he finishes that guy's haircut. Poor girl just stood there staring. Guy he was giving a haircut seemed embarrassed. I was sitting there with the trimmer. People in the waiting room, stunned silence. Took 15 minutes. Then he says to her, if you're not going to do it right, you're out of here. Now trim the back and apologize to him. She starts trimming and apologizes to the guy. He says to her, you were doing great, I don't see any difference. Owner says, you don't but I do. Entire place awkward silence while he cuts my hair. Previous encounter with said barber. Cutting my hair. He's wearing his mask flat on his face. He's getting really mad. These masks keeping blowing my breath into my eyes. I can't see anything. Can I take it off? Why don't you pinch the top to create a seal around your nose? What? The top of the mask. You can pinch it around your nose. There's a wire there. See? Like mine. He pinches the top to create a seal around his nose. That's much better. This was a year into COVID. Previous encounter with said barber, cutting my hair. You know what COVID is, right? Dear Lord save me. What? Remember those bombs the Chinese were dropping in the ocean? That was them testing COVID. Think about it. I think about it and give myself a headache. China did this on purpose. They've been eating bats forever, but all of a sudden we get COVID? And it's popping up all over the world? How does it travel? I wait for the answer. He's actually waiting for me to answer. By people on planes. No, it's a weapon. They're putting it in the water. Continues to cut my hair. Think about it. El Tobarino says, I got banned by my weed dealer once. I texted him and asked if it was cool if I came over in 15 minutes and he said sure. So I showed up at his apartment and nobody answered the door. Texted him and he didn't respond, so I went home. Then he texted me back like 2 hours later and was like, oh, sorry, forgot you were coming and I went to see John Wick. You can come by now. So I went back and once again nobody answered and he didn't answer his texts. Just as I started to leave, he came down the hallway and saw me standing in front of his door. Proceeded to get mad at me because he thought I was waiting outside his door for 2 hours and his neighbors would get suspicious. He didn't believe me when I told him I went home and came back, and told me never to contact him again. I stopped smoking weed because I was sick of having to deal with the flakiest fucking people on the planet. I still buy it when I travel to legal states and I can just walk into a store. Maybe someday we'll get that in Texas, lol. Yay says, long story, but I acquired about 50 passes to a dive club for no cover charge. Because I'm a generous dude, and don't want to go clubbing alone, I distributed these passes to various people. A friend of mine, who reminds me of George Costanza, took a pass, and Xeroxed it, flooding the market with free passes to the club. This got me a temporary ban. After we made up, I went one night and snuck in some Natty Light because you know I'm classy like that. I got caught by the bouncer who yelled at me, "We don't serve Natty Light in my alcohol-fueled wit." I responded, "Oh yay, well the university blah 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 doesn't have scholarship football. That's why you have to be a bouncer." Proceeded giant football player to chase me away, and get me banned for life. Libralisa26 says, my parents got banned from their favorite Mexican restaurant because they would 9/10 times complain that the tostada shells were not crispy enough. Halfway through the meal they would ask for new tostadas with refried shells. The restaurant manager came to the table one evening and asked them to never return. My parents stopped going for a couple of months, then went again. They said the staff gave some eye rolls but didn't kick them out. Thank you for watching my video. If we can reach 50 subscribers before April, I will do a special money giveaway for you guys. And always remember to like, subscribe, and spread it.